Good evening, Don't Unfriend Me Nation, episode 461. My name is Matthew Spear. I am the host of Don't Unfriend Me. Welcome to the show. We usually do current events, and I give you the rundown and my thoughts and opinions. Well, I'm going to do that, but it's not necessarily about one incident or something that's happened recently. It's more of where our country's gone from where it once was to where it is today. An introspective moment from the Don't Unfriend Me hosts. Hopefully you can deal with it after these brief messages. I'll be right back.
Hey, Hogs Twins here. Check out our friend Matthew Spear at his podcast at The Dumb Show and his website, don'tunfriendme.com. Yeah.
Thank you for joining the Don't Unfriend Me show. This is Breaking Truth. My name is Matthew Spear. As I said, you can find us at The Dumb Show across all social media. Make sure you drop the B, and also at thedumbshow.com. I wanted to bring this to you today. By the way, thank you for the 150,000. Finally hit that number. It's a big one. And looking at what has happened over the last few days, not only the only big thing that's happened in the Don't Unfriend Me universe, we all heard about the indictment to Donald Trump, and I certainly don't want people to think that this is the caveat to that. I still think it's a big nothing burger, but it does have me reflect on our reaction to it. From the Democrats to the Republicans to just about everybody has an opinion, whether they are political or not. So when I look at this and I think about the United States, I think about my military service of growing up with a Marine Corps father. Every time we stood for the flag, every time I knelt towards a coffin, whatever it was, there was always this pride that I still have for the United States today, but I don't necessarily feel it like I once did. It's not as palpable and cathartic as it once was for me. Going through Hurricane Harvey was a big one for me. California fires, crises through 9/11 and overseas service, seeing so many different things where America has come together. But I wonder, will we ever come together again like we once were? And there used to be a country that was considered one of the greatest nations in the world. It was a country that was respected and admired for its leadership, innovation, and progress. And this country was a beacon of hope for people around the world, and its citizens were proud to call it their home. In this great nation, people from all walks of life worked together to build a better future for themselves and for future generations. Sometimes we failed, sometimes we succeeded. But the country's leaders were visionaries with bold ideas and a willingness to take risks to achieve greatness. They recognized that the success of the nation depended on the hard work and the dedication of its citizens, and they encouraged people to take pride in their work and in their country. One of the defining features of this great nation was its commitment to innovation and progress. The nation's scientists, engineers, and inventors were among the best in the world, and they were encouraged to push the boundaries of what was possible. From the development of the first airplanes to the landing of a man on the moon, this nation's achievements were celebrated around the world and revered and sometimes despised. The nation's leadership was also known for its compassion and generosity. In times of crises, the country came together to support those in need, whether it was in the aftermath of a natural disaster or during times of economic hardship. The nation's citizens were known for their generosity and their willingness to lend a helping hand to those in need, and even to those who maybe didn't. The great nation's influence was felt around the world as people looked to it for leadership and inspiration. The nation's leaders recognized their responsibility to promote peace, freedom, and democracy, and they worked tirelessly to promote these values around the world. Their efforts helped to bring an end to conflicts and to promote human rights and dignity. Unfortunately, as time passed, the great nation began to lose its way. Its citizens became divided, and its leaders lost sight of their responsibility to promote the common good. The nation's commitment to progress and innovation began to wane, and its influence around the world began to diminish. Political ideology became an increasingly divisive force with individuals and within the groups, becoming increasingly entrenched in their beliefs and less willing to engage in constructive dialogue with those who hold opposing views. This entrenchment was doing serious damage to society as a whole and the country as well. As the masses witnessed time and time again the malicious attacks from both sides, the masses watched like children with parents who no longer loved or nurtured, but only scorned and degraded. These aspersions eroded away at the core of the country, and lessons were learned from our fathers and mothers who were supposed to guide us. And as all cancers spread to the citizenry or children alike, as they loosed their arrows laced with venom and tongues dripping with disdain for one another, we watched. This led to a decline in critical thinking skills when individuals became more concerned with defending their political beliefs than seeking out the truth. They were less likely to engage in rigorous analysis and fact checks. This led to the spread of misinformation and propaganda and made it ripe for fact checkers to tell us what they believed was true, but wasn't. This happened at epic levels, and rumblings of propaganda started to become louder and louder, which had real-world consequence and our place in it. And then the unthinkable happened. The statesmen of this once great country crossed a line that never should have been crossed, a demarcation line that separated us from the rest of the world, a line between good and evil. The proverbial Pandora box was opened, and using all the strength of one opposing viewpoint and what it could muster, this country landed itself into the throes of the worst pathway a once good nation should never face. The path into what they fought so hard against: collectivism, mob rule, and group think. Despite these challenges, there were still those who believed in the greatness of the nation and who were committed to restoring its leadership and innovation. They recognized that the nation's success depended on the hard work and dedication of its citizens, and they were determined to work towards a better future. They were vigilant to regain the 90% from the 10% that held it hostage. They were steadfast in their resolve to ensure a balance between the majority and the minority, spoke for morality and constitution as well. They reaffirmed their dedication to what is good and what is just, versus what was politically advantageous and easy. And although this fight was noble and altruistic on both sides, nobody was left to hear the muffled whimpers of the masses, because the minutia had grown into a mass screaming petulance that was deafening and drowning to all. America has a chance. It has been here before many times. The question is, will you be continued a part of the problem, or suffer through the dredge and drudgery to make a valiant attempt to restore her to the greatness we once knew? One person can indeed make a difference, and history is full of examples of individuals who have changed the course of history through their actions, beliefs, and determination, not their race, color, creed, or sexuality, but their resolve. Of course, making a difference doesn't always require grand gestures or world-changing actions. Sometimes the most profound impact can come from small acts of kindness and compassion, being kind to those around us, but most importantly, knowing when kindness is no longer enough, when tough, unrelenting confrontation to what is wrong and fervent defense to what is right is the only answer that remains. Changing the argument to what is moral and good will always win over darkness and evil. You just have to recognize that you have been fighting, and what you've been fighting for isn't the answer. It's about what we have all lost in common that will ultimately bridge the gap apart. If only we would fight for that together. But after all, this is just a story. Or is it? It really is up to you. Folks, thank you for watching the Don't Unfriend Me show tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, stick around. Maybe you can come back tomorrow or tonight at 8 o'clock when we are live across all social media. We are doing recorded shows live shows Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can join my wife, myself, and Leroy and Amy together. It's a good time. Or you can watch the recorded show, which this is. It's a little bit slower, more thought out, and less colorful in the language and metaphors that it uses. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please stop by the Don't Unfriend Me store. It's Red Friday. You can pick up your own Red Friday shirt at thedumbshow.com. Hats, coffee mugs, stuff like that. Also, 10% goes back to veterans and the Travis Manion Foundation. Thanks for watching tonight. I will see you next time. God bless, and do me one favor. Always remember the veterans. We go out like we always do with the Veteran Crisis Hotline. God bless. and good night.
I'm David Boreanaz with the Cast of SEAL team, and we have an important message for returning vets.
We want you to know if you're struggling to cope, there's help and it's just a phone call away.
The Veterans Crisis Line is staffed with experienced professionals who know your struggles.
There's no greater sacrifice in service to our country. We're able to enjoy our freedoms because of it.
Your service is important, you are important.
For vets and their families, the Veterans Crisis Line is here to help 24 hours a day. Please call